All right. Okay. Think I like. How's that look? 3. Hello, my name is Rodney Allen Dean, and I'm here to talk to you today about Bitcoin, the ecology and use of Bitcoin. How many of you out there right now own Bitcoin? How many of you use Bitcoin on a regular basis? I'm sure there are several hands that are flying up, and I'm sure that there are even more that are saying, what are you talking about? What exactly is Bitcoin? Well, before I get to that, let me tell you about a little bit about myself. My name is Rodney Dean. I am a father of 2 beautiful baby girls, Ryan Marie and Carolyn Laureen Dean. I am also the son of a fabulous woman, Laureen Beatrice Cleaver. Hi, Mom. I am also a student at Metropolitan State University of Denver, which I am very, very proud to say that I will be receiving a Bachelor of Arts in Hospitality Systems, a minor in Economics, and a minor in Marketing here sometime really shortly. So let's keep our thumbs up on that one and our fingers crossed. What is Bitcoin and why is it important? One reason that is important is to be able to bring together community action. Community action such as the Eden Theatrical Workshop, where people can participate in theater no matter what their creed or their color or their ability. Lucy Walker has been running the Eden Theatrical Workshop since 1965. She is going to be celebrating her 53rd anniversary this year. She has received a lot of accolades, but a very special one this year. Lucy has received a letter from the President of the United States congratulating her on being the longest running Black operated theatrical workshop in the nation. And that's right here in Denver, Colorado, at the heart of Capitol Hill. When you have a chance, I would love for you to take the opportunity to show Lucy Walker and the players at the Eden Theatrical Workshop a little bit of love. Now, to the ecology of Bitcoin. How do you use Bitcoin? Bitcoin can be used as a wallet. It can be stored as a wallet. It can be stored privately. It can be made to transfer around the world. It can be cashed out immediately for currencies all around the world. Everyone uses Bitcoin, from the people that are doing your baking and your cooking to people that are helping move millions of dollars for industry and productivity. What is a Bitcoin? Bitcoin, as my definition, is the monetary unit devised to develop incentive for consensus-based, say that 3 times fast. Bitcoin is the monetary unit devised to develop an incentive for a consensus-based unidirectional peer-to-peer transaction protocol called the blockchain. Now, if you think that is a tough definition, the Conference of State Bank Supervisors has virtual currency defined as this. Virtual currency is a digital representation of value used as a medium of exchange, a unit of account, or a store of value, but does not have legal tender status as recognized by the United States government. And they say more. The IRS definition of virtual currency says that the general rules for virtual currency are as property. Of course, they took the pass until we have a little bit more information about what exactly is Bitcoin. But the other question is, if it is the monetizing unit of a transferring of information protocol called the blockchain, the next question would be, what is the blockchain? The blockchain is a shared public ledger, and this is according to Bitcoin.org. The blockchain is a shared public ledger on which the entire Bitcoin network relies. All confirmed transactions are included in the blockchain. This way, Bitcoin wallets can calculate their spendable balance and new transactions can be verified to be spending Bitcoins that are actually owned by the spender. The integrity and the chronological order of the blockchain are enforced with cryptography. That is the blockchain. Now, who came up with this? In 2009, a group of people or a person named Satoshi Nakamoto presented a paper, and we have the Bitcoin PDF. In that paper, it was revolutionary because it brought together ideas that people had been working on in the area of digital currencies. It solved the problem of exchanging money in a safe and secure way without having to trust third parties or even the other person at the end of the transaction over the internet with no help from your friends from the government. You could send money. What are the results of that? The results of that are you have a transparent, open ledger system where you can track the transactions, which means that there is no fiduciary responsibilities amongst other escrow companies. You have an emergence of cryptography, schools that are coming out for people to learn new skills and use them in new and exciting manners. You have global connectivity. Now around the world, conferences are being held about scalability, malleability, all of the different items that affect cryptocurrency are being done around the world because of this fantastic new product we have called Bitcoin. We have duplication. There are other cryptocurrencies out there. I like to refer to Bitcoin similarly with the aspects of gold and the duplication manner. I like to really think about those as other alternate coins, other precious metals. Some precious metals have different values because they do different things. You do not use mercury for the same reason you would use tungsten. And you do not use lead for the same reason you would use iron. You do not, so each one of those different metals carry a different value, and each one of those different metals can be bought with gold. Bitcoin is the same way. Bitcoin would be the gold standard of the internet money system, as I see it. And the alternate coins like Litecoin, Tatiana coin, Dogecoin, and other coins out there are the specific metals used to help facilitate the transactions on the blockchain. What is the real killer app on Bitcoin? The real killer app on Bitcoin, in my opinion, is its ability to be decentralized. It is not one single point of focus that Bitcoin is involved in. There is no central government that is issuing Bitcoin. It is being held by thousands of nodes around the world, being mined by several thousand different machines to come up and solve a mathematical algorithm in order to receive value. It is not left to the whims of policy or the whims of government for Bitcoin to be produced and we know exactly how many there will be produced. So we have scarcity. In a decentralized fashion, on a decentralized network, which adds security, and Bitcoin is the most secure protocol on the internet. And I can say that without fear. There are a lot of people that have been able to back that information up. What does decentralization mean? Decentralization means that you can have a peer-to-peer transaction without trust. We can decentralize healthcare by putting all of the records on a blockchain format and digitally monetizing those records so that there would be value added when those records are exchanged, and that would be held by the patient. We can decentralize real estate. Some of the very expensive functions that go into real estate can now be housed on the internet, on the blockchain, and therefore lowering the cost of transaction. The same with intellectual property. The creators of fantastic pieces of work can now add Bitcoin as a value. You can have micropayments. Micropayments are a big part of decentralization in the art world. Financial reasons. Bitcoin is a financial rail. It can move seamlessly large amounts of value for very little money. A lot of the money that goes into the moving of financial assets goes in the housing of those financial assets as they move from one source to the other. For example, if you were to want to take your $1 million of gold from China and move it over to England, by time your gold got over to England, there would be several steps along the way where gold would be usurped from that total. You would have to pay for the transport, you would have to pay for the storage, you would have to pay for all of those activities and the security. And by time your $1 million of gold got to England, it would be considerably less. Bitcoin makes that value transfer a click of the phone. The same $1 million for very, very little cost. Smart property. Imagine, if you will, the same thing that Andreas Antonopoulos spoke about in one of his videos when he was talking about remarketing Bitcoin. Kind of changing it up a little bit, making it more accurate to what it really is. But he did pose a really unique protocol that could happen today. Could you imagine putting an Uber car together with Bitcoin, together with a Google Drive car, a Google car that drives itself? And now you have a self-actualizing car that uses its own money, accepts its own money, schedules its own maintenance, and can trade itself up without any human interference. Bitcoin is the very first coin, or the very first monetary unit, that you do not have to be a person to own. Bitcoin is the latest iteration of value and wealth transfer. Of course, we know that it would be very, very simple, and if you have done any Austrian economics, you know about the regression theory. What was money before it was money? Was it useful? Bitcoin's killer app is its utility. It is very useful. Just like in the past, young people could, or the governments would go out and gather several seashells, put them together, categorize the best seashells, and send out the best ones in trade. Soon, gold took over that because it had a useful app, was the fact that you could shave off a bar of gold, take some of the shavings across the sea, combine them with the bar of gold across the sea, and you have still gold. Bitcoin is the same way. It is separable, and then it can combine back into a single coin. There's been over $1 billion of Bitcoin mined. The price per Bitcoin as I'm making this video this morning was at $381 a coin. It has been the best performing currency last year and the year before that. Not so much in 12, I think. However, I would like to address the volatility issue in this way. In 2010, I think it was 10,000 Bitcoins that were offered for the purchase of 2 large pizzas. Those 2 large pizzas got delivered for 10,000 Bitcoin. This morning, as I stated, I woke up and 1 Bitcoin has a value of $381. That's kind of impressive. Now, I would like to share with you a recording that I made about the Bitcoin participants, the ecology of Bitcoin. And this recording is called Confidence in Something from Nothing. Confidence in something from nothing. Creating something from nothing is just what it used to be. It is part technology, part necessity, and a good amount of faith which is used to develop the future. Interestingly, there are avenues developed where the aforementioned categories are converging, and that, of course, is in Bitcoin. Bitcoiners are of a different sort. There's a tendency for them to look at things in the past and ask, how can that happen in the future? It's an awkward realization for a layperson examining the process of Bitcoin development for the first time to understand the historical attributes that go into the conceptualization of the technology. In many podcasts and videos, there are references to economic history, political coups, and environmental events that illustrate the way developers see the process and the problem. It is not without precedent or vivid example of how a reflective nature can assist in creating the future. Many examples come from the accounts of the nature of money, its causations, and its resolutions. Most of the information received about the boom and bust periods of human commerce are seen as tragic happenings that created a list of unmentionable maladies, conveying a serious sense of betrayal. However, if one is to look closely at the circumstances surrounding the events, there is likely to be a direct causative factor, and as likely to be a clear resulting effect. For instance, the hyperinflation of a money, where it seems the problem is government overprinting paper money. Yet, Tone Vase points out at 24 minutes in the YouTube video, Bitcoin Trading and Strategies, it is not the government overprinting that is the actual problem. It is the lack of confidence displayed in the government doing the printing of the money and the migration away from the currency by the class of people that create confidence that is the real problem. It is the same with products and services. If there is no confidence, there is no use. The process happens away from the market where confidence has been lost. The strategies remain the same. Buy low, sell high, have liquidity, not too much, on and on. Creation of confidence is where the Bitcoin realm has a real good foothold. There have been properties seized and ransomed for Bitcoin due to a sort of confidence. There are gray markets creating commerce and using Bitcoin and thereby instilling an amount of confidence into the ecosystem itself. To mention the amount of confidence going into product development for Bitcoin would be to invest way too much time and space on a rapidly advancing and ever-changing landscape. With new entries into the fray coming at a frantic pace, Bitcoin is the frontier again, and it carries all of the aspects of an uncharted territory a confident, marginalized professional could ask for. But what if you lack confidence? What if you're not a pro? What if you have, let's say, issues? How does the new frontier address your needs? Now, there's room for discussion on what the promise of Bitcoin holds for the disenfranchised, the timidly able, the lost boys and girls. What can this thing do for them? The future is so empty and vast that the present sometimes gets overwhelming and drifts away with the aspirations of those invested in the now. Today, someone got out of prison saying, "Oh, shit." Yesterday, the cashier at the local convenience store heard one too many, "I'm going to tell your manager and then we'll see who's right." And there's no shortage of broken alarm clocks that signify the intense emotion felt on the Monday morning that comes directly after Friday night that leads to new employment on Tuesday. How does the decentralized currency that is divisible past the hundredths of a penny help those situations? An answer may not be too hard to imagine. It does not take a lot of vision to see when someone is benefiting more than you, especially if they were just like you and now they're not like you at all. They're cooler, more stylish, have a handle on new stuff, and speak using new phrases like counterparty risk associated with the spike in sidechain activity, and new words like Satoshi, ASIC, token, Ethereum, and fiat, all in a single sentence. The age-old emotive response of curiosity may be one of the rails to adoption available to help the disenfranchised create from a state of nothing an interest in something. Bitcoin is something special because it is a different space and can be the something from nothing that is easily accessible, simply usable, and self-educatable. Degrees aren't offered yet in Bitcoin polyhelix multiform modality regression theory and consequence development of collateral blockchain core entanglement, but they will be. Many new technologies like the assembly line, railroad, and refrigerator had their critics. Who would want to use these things? It's nothing like what we have, it's just too different. It'll never be used for anything important. Are all phrases uttered by the hindsight seers, so busy examining the past that the present just slips by. Today's technology isn't invented for yesterday, it's invented for tomorrow. And just as organisms that aren't equipped for being put into a new environment most certainly die, so also do those organisms that have limited ability to function well in an old environment find the new environment a space to thrive, prosper, and grow. An example of such is the Malbec wine of Argentina. It's tough for Europe to make good, but a different place and space y algo especial. Confidence is knowing that all of the king's horses and all of the king's men have Satoshi attached to their value, and they have to answer for demand market forces for king's horses and king's men, which will mean new exciting prospects for queen's mares and queen's maidens. This type of equanimity is the hallmark of blockchain evangelists and the cryptographic gospel preached in the meetup sanctuaries. Becoming a sovereign self, a socio-monoist, an ordinal in a cardinal world. All that and can play anonymously around darknets, in and out of chit-chat rooms, hovering above the sweeping conformity current and lighting in the leaves of debate and change. Yep, The frontier is Bitcoin. It's a stand of palms in the desert heat of devalued currency, and it continues to grow. The fresh spring of peer-to-peer trustless transaction feeds the oasis, and the green grasses of comfort represent the flow leading to an ocean of possibilities. There is, of course, danger on the frontier. Bad actors, desperados, carpetbaggers of calamity, continually barking about the dangers inherent to homesteading on the plainly open source prairie, forecasting the demise of any settlement not protocoled by the crumbling edicts of the past. As with all frontiers, there are great gains and losses. Mounts crumble and gawks by the wayside, while simplicity rises through the ether. Nothing is too much of something in the web-wide world of the new. So boot up and fear less. There's a game afoot. This is Rodney Dean. That's confidence in something from nothing. I jam. As you have realized, confidence in something from nothing is just an ideological atonement for what we see coming down the road. Yes, there will be bad actors. Yes, there will be the carpetbaggers of calamity that are always barking about the harshness of homesteading on the plainly open sourced prairie. However, it is on its way. What I would like to talk to you is about the difference between disruption and construction. Of course, Bitcoin is highly disruptive to a lot of the aforementioned categories. We talked about real estate, we talked about technology, we talked about finances, where Bitcoin can be very, very disruptive. But it is very, very constructive as well. We can create cultural exchanges using cryptocurrencies where people can exchange works of art for very small amounts of money, but showing each other that they appreciate their work. We can develop curriculums based upon Bitcoin and the supporting factors of Bitcoin. We talked about cryptography, a skill that can be taught and learned and transferred. We can create marketing in a lot of different languages that all coincides with the use of Bitcoin. Some of the YouTube videos that I have watched over and over again are always talking about how we need more people to use Bitcoin more often to decrease the amount of volatility that there are in the price. So, if we can do that around the world and incorporate more people getting into the Bitcoin phenomenon, then you will see the price fluctuations will very much calm down. Now that we talked about the ecology of Bitcoin, I want to discuss with you, for the reason that I am here, the use of Bitcoin. What can Bitcoin be used for? There are 1,000 different apps out there telling you what you can use Bitcoin for. Purse.io gives you Bitcoin accessibility on Amazon.com. There's a Fold app in the Airbits wallet that allows you to have a percentage of money off of your Starbucks, which is very, very important. But what could we really use Bitcoin for? My proposal is called the BRIGHT idea. BRIGHT stands for Bitcoin, Resource, Internet, Technology, and Environment, and Economics. It is a bright idea where the concept is to create a skill and trade set inside of marginalized communities and teach high-tech education there that is tied to Bitcoin, resources, internet, technology, and economics, using several different educational models. The success can be monitored in a different way. Success, the program can be done by measuring the very complex metrics that come from all of the different activities that we engage the students in, or success can be measured very, very simply. by the activities and the students themselves going back together and scheduling their performances and their ideas with each other from around the world to get Bitcoin. Now, the Bitcoin application has several technical applications. The element it contains is a means of trade between global communities which is well established. It can be discussed the same vein as gold and fiat currency. We can teach that to young men and women. The resource I spoke of, in my mind, would be hemp. Hemp is a medical, industrial, agricultural product that has so many different applications that lend itself to the blockchain for being able to be tracked, for being able to be sold, for being able to be traded, and for being able to be made into so many different products that lend themselves to Bitcoin. The resource application of the bright idea is hemp. Internet. The internet is full of information, and information is transferred on the internet using social media. My idea for the internet would be to teach social media applications and to teach them into marginalized communities so that they can promote the things that they are doing inside of this program. Technology. With a new emerging system comes new emerging technologies. We are so very happy to see quantum computing taking place. We are talking about the blockchain computer now, and we are talking about new casinos that are springing up around the country and on reservations that need technologists to fix the machines. We can teach that as a skill in marginalized communities and help young men and women join in this new economy. Economics. Economics is the study of supply and demand, and it is critical to assess the results of behavior. Culture and commodity is rooted in the behavior of people and their habits. And economics is in the heart of how success and failure is measured in every culture. It is a very vital skill to have, and we can teach that. So that is my idea, to help marginalized communities buy the bright idea and use that as a skill set to promote cultural exchange with art, music, and the hemp product as an idea to help bring people together in Bitcoin. Now, I know you have a lot of questions, and I have a lot of questions for you. Please feel free to contact me at ijam.factotum@gmail.com. That's ijam.factotum, FACTOTUM @gmail.com. Thank you for taking this time to listen to my presentation on Bitcoin, Ecology and Use. My name is Rodney Dean. I look forward to hearing from you.